Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And before we dive into today's Kiki, which is catching up on all of the leaks and spoilers and rumors and drama about the upcoming season of The Real Housewives of OC, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to share this with a friend because a Kiki is always better with community. And also, don't forget to check out the description box below and shop our love collection. We have some really cute goodies. So with that, let's dive right on in. So rumor has it, according to Bravo and Cocktails, that Teddi Mellencamp might be joining not this season, but the next season of The Real Housewives of OC. Now, they're saying it kind of depends on a couple of things. One, we all know that Tamra Judge is now back on the OC. She got her orange back. And we also know that Tamra and Teddi are really close, and they do a podcast called Two Teas in a Pod. We also know that Teddi just uses the podcast as a mouthpiece for Kyle Richards and sometimes Lisa Rinna, and we're tired of it. We're sick of it. We don't want to hear Kyle talk. We don't want to hear Lisa Rinna talk. We sure as hell don't want to hear them talk through Teddi Mellencamp. Not a good look. It's bad. It's not good. So that's kind of the connection between Teddi and Tamra, right? And they're saying that if Tamra really brings it, she's going to save this season. She's going to save the OC franchise. So if she really brings it, then she can bring on Teddi Mellencamp for the next season to sort of be her, bosom buddy and have her back. Now, there's so many reasons why this is problematic. One, we don't want Teddi back in any capacity. She wasn't great on Beverly Hills. She's not even great on her podcast. I don't know why they would want to bring her back to the OC. It would be the same weird, single white female syndrome that she did with Kyle. She would do it with Tamra. She would just sort of morph into her. We already have one Tamra. We don't need two. Also, we don't like these weird codependent dynamics. We don't like Robin and Giselle with their codependency. We didn't like Heather Gay and Whitney Rose with their codependency. We don't need that anymore because they now have a falling out. Catch my other video on that. But we didn't like it when it was, the full Fox 4 and the full Fox 5, when it's like this group mentality. We just don't like it. It doesn't feel good. It's not a good look. We didn't like Kyle and Teddi with their weird relationship dynamics. We didn't like that. So we wouldn't like it on the OC with Teddi and Tamra. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I think this is a bold-faced lie. I think this is a scheme Todd made up. I think this was planted by Teddi. And I'm going to tell you why. Just because we have the crossover with Taylor Armstrong, she started at The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, then she did Ultimate Girls Trip, and now she is technically a friend of on the OC, but depending on how everything rolls out, she could be bumped up to a full-time orange holder. We'll see how that shakes out. Now, just because, Taylor was able to do that does not mean Teddi will be. The reason why I think that this is fake news and that this is just planted by Teddi is because Teddi has been doing the most. She's been doing the absolute most. She's been windmilling on her podcast for, Kyle and for Lisa Rinna. She's been, going after Kathy Hilton, going after LVP. She's really been trying to make herself relevant in the Bravo world. Just because you and Tamra are doing a podcast together, that doesn't mean that makes you relevant in the Bravo world. But she's been inserting herself in what's currently going on with the Housewives. To me, that just sounds really desperate. It's really bizarre. It's really weird. It doesn't land well. I think this is just a lie that Teddi planted to see if it could, go anywhere. Sorry, Teddi, it's not going to go anywhere. Just let it go and go away. With that, let's move on to more of OCT. Now, they're saying that Shannon's ex, David Beador, last week he filed for divorce against his, current wife. Again, she's about 20 years younger than him. She's the girl that he was cheating on Shannon with. They also have a toddler together. And, he filed for divorce. Apparently there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of situation. Her name's Leslie. She's threatening to, mention it all and saying she has all this dirt on David. Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. We'll see. Then it said, oh no, he withdrew the petition, but then the LA County people or the OC County people were like, no, that never happened. But then she went on her Instagram being like, no, he withdrew, and now I'm refiling because I have all this stuff on him. It's a big hot mess. I personally don't really care. Like, David, you're not on the show. You were a jerk to Shannon. You were kind of you were threatening to not let the kids film on the show. David, just go away, go bye. But they're saying that it might play out in this season because, of course, it's Shannon. It's her ex-husband. It's big news. Allegedly she hears about the divorce while she's filming a scene with Tamra. So we'll have to see how that plays out. So even though David is not on the show anymore, his drama we're seeing will probably still, spill into the show, seeing how Shannon reacts and how it affects her and all of that. So we'll see with that one. Vicki Gunvalson has also been gunning for her orange back. Hi, Vicki. I love Vicki. So Vicki Gunvalson is also gunning for her orange back, and she's been outspoken. She's been talking about a bunch of things. She's saying that one of her biggest regrets being on the show is divorcing her husband at the time, Don. She said that, she got too big for her britches, and if she would have just focused and worked on her marriage, she thinks that they would have been able to get back together and be happy, and they probably still would be together. We all know what's happened with Vicki's, tumultuous romantic relationships. She had the scammer Con Otters Brooks. He lied about having cancer. That got exposed. She was then with Steve Lodge. He then kind of stifled her joy, and then went to go on and allegedly cheat on her. And now he's engaged to a much younger woman. He basically was using her for her money and for access to her houses, allegedly. But I do think Vicki is dating now. I think she got set up or she met someone through Kelly Dodd. But speaking of Kelly Dodd is also windmilling for her orange back. She's been doing interviews on Up and Adam. And while she was on that show, she slammed Gina. She was saying like, oh no, I wasn't body shaming her, but she did talk about Gina's sort of like hunchback, how she kind of has that little hunchback. She called her a dud. She called her boyfriend a dud. She said her house sucked. She said she doesn't have multiple homes. She talked about her voice. She basically said she was the worst cast housewife ever. And she basically read Gina for filth. Now, to be honest with you, it's up for grabs whether Kelly was body shaming or not. Some people were saying, no, she said Gina's really pretty and she didn't mean it that way. It came across the wrong way. Some people were saying, no, you talked about her body at all. It's body shaming. I leave that up to you guys to take that as you will. Now, for me, I'm not going to talk about the body stuff because I don't think it's ever okay to body shame someone, whether you meant to or not. It's just not okay. But the other stuff, Kelly Dodd told no lies. I'm not the hugest Kelly Dodd fan, given her stance on other things. But when it comes to Gina, Kelly Dodd told no lies. Gina, you are kind of a horrible housewife. Your voice is very hard to listen to. Also, your boyfriend is kind of a dud. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way towards him. I mean that in the context of what makes good reality TV. So I'm not saying it personally against him at all. I don't know him. I mean him no disrespect. I'm just saying for what it means to be a boyfriend of, an ex of, look at Frank Catania. He's amazing for reality TV. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, being a spouse or a boyfriend or an ex of a housewife, they have people who land really well and they have people who don't land so well. And it's not that he doesn't land well. It's just that it's like Kelly said, he's kind of a dud. He's kind of just there and it's not really that interesting. It's not really anything, whatever. So I do agree with her on that. I also think that Gina isn't interesting herself. She doesn't really have a personality to me. And again, those codependent relationships that we don't like. Gina and Emily, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. We don't like it. Chanel, Ayan, and Lisa from Dubai. We don't like that either. It's those weird dynamics that we don't like. I don't really think Gina brings a lot to the show. I didn't like that Gina was all up Heather Dubrow's butt. That was weird and bizarre to me. I didn't like the way that Gina sort of set up and was really super disrespectful to Shannon. I think she's done Shannon dirty time and time again. I don't think Gina really brings that much to the show. Now, when it comes to talking about her house and whether or not she has multiple houses, two things. One, even though I don't really like Gina, And by like, it's not personal. By like, I just mean like, I don't think she really pops to me as a housewife, but I am very proud of her because she did do what she had to do for herself and her children, given what happened with her ex-husband, Matt. Now, we all know that Matt was arrested and then convicted for DV and all of that stuff. So I'm never going to discredit and I'm never going to put someone down for doing what they have to do. Who cares what the size of her house is? Miss me with all that. I'm very, very proud of Gina for not tolerating that behavior, for being honest and vocal about it, for being an advocate for other victims, and for doing what she had to do to protect herself and her children. So I'm going to give Gina props all day long for that. So miss me with that one, Kelly, when you're talking about her house and she doesn't have multiple homes, blah, 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 blah. Kelly, stop. You're not getting your orange back either. I hope not. Because although at times you made great for reality TV, there's still something about you that's still very dark. And we don't want the darkness. We don't want any of the darkness. We have enough darkness on all the other franchises. There's still something about you, Kelly, that is still very, very dark. And we don't want that darkness back. At least I don't. I don't know. Maybe you guys do. Put it in the comment box below. Do you want Kelly Dodd back? You know, do you think she's doing what she has to do to get her orange back? She's trying to get Gina's, obviously. But also when it comes to Gina, they're also saying that Gina and Taylor are actually in a competition for who will be the orange holder. So like I said before, Taylor has crossed over. She's a friend of, but you know what they do, they will film it, and then at the end they'll say you're a diamond holder or you're an orange holder, you're a friend of, you've been cut out completely. Like they have the power to do that. So word on the street, they're saying that Gina and Taylor are both doing everything they can to secure the orange. Like Gina wants to hold on to her orange, she doesn't want to be demoted to a friend of, and Taylor wants to be promoted to getting that orange that Gina has. So they're saying that those two are going at it. We'll see how that pans out. What else is going on? And then also some of the big, drama and feuds will be Tamra Judge versus Shannon. We all know they used to have the Tres Amigas with Vicki. That dissolved once Vicki and Tamra were let go from the franchise. And Shannon stayed on. I'm team Shannon on this one. Tamra, the problem is that you badmouth Shannon behind her back all the time. Shannon calls me too much. Shannon drinks too much. Shannon. But to Shannon's face, you never communicated that you had a problem with it to her face, but you did it behind her back. And now you wonder why, once, like all of us, she sees the show, she's falling back. I would too. If I think I'm confiding in my friend, but it turns out they think I'm crazy psycho and I'm a burden to them and they're telling everybody that but me, then hell yeah, I'm going to fall back from the friendship. It is what it is. So I'm team Shannon on that, but we're going to see that go out. Also, we're going to see Tamra versus Heather Dubrow. Heather was being very disparaging towards Tamra, saying, how can we have Tamra back? She has a podcast about about Bravo. How can she be on Bravo? It seems like Bravo is allowing Tamra to stay on her podcast, which I think is the right choice because it's very hypocritical for Heather because Heather uses every scene as an infomercial. Me and Terry's new show about marriage, my new show about, clothing and styling, my YouTube Heather's World, my podcast with Teddi, my podcast with Terry, Terry's spinoff Botch, like literally Heather uses the entire show as an infomercial for all of her other projects. And on some of the projects, she does talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The OC and Bravo. How can she not? As quiet as it kept, you only have those projects because you were a housewife. Duh. So I think that was very shady and hypocritical of Heather Dubrow. And I think that Tamra is going to have a bit of a reckoning with her about that. We'll see. And I think it's good that Bravo is letting Tamra continue to do two teas in a pod with Teddi Boring Mellencamp because they should. That doesn't make sense why they wouldn't. What else? So yeah, that seems to be the biggest thing. Tamra also has a bone to pick. Tamra has a lot of bones to pick with Gina and Emily because as we saw before, Gina and Emily were all up Tamra's butt while she was on. See, this is where Tamra actually is correct. Where Gina and Emily were all up Tamra's butt when Tamra was on the show. They were sucking up to her 1,000%. The moment Tamra got let go, they were like, oh, it's going to be a much better show without Tamra. We're happy. Like, it's good that she's gone. It's going to be a much better show. Now, they are people who you need to go and have a reckoning with and call them out on their flip-flopping BS, but not Shannon. Shannon was not a fair weather friend. Shannon thought you guys were actually friends until you played her. You complained every single scene about Shannon calling you. And then now you want to claim that you're hurt because she stopped calling you? Which is it, Tamra? Do you want her to call you or do you not want her to call you? Because when she calls you, you complain. When she doesn't call you, you complain. So what is it that you actually want, Tamra? Okay. But what I want is for you guys to share down below. What are your thoughts? Are you excited for the upcoming season of the OC? Or do you think, no, it's going to be a big yawn? What do you think about, the feuds? What do you think about Taylor versus Gina? Kelly versus Gina? Tamra versus Shannon? What do you guys think? And again, we don't want Teddi back on the screen, but I think she started that rumor herself. But what do you guys think? Put your comments down below. But before you do that, you guys know what to do. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to check out the description box below and grab yourself some goodies from the Love Collection. I promise you are going to love it and you will not regret it, unlike Vicki, who regrets divorcing Dawn. But with that, you guys, I love you. Take care of yourself and each other. Bye.
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram @Candy Washington. Let's go.